is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I see you guys are piling into the room, so let me get the trading view up and running. Real quick, if you guys did anything fun in the chat, post it in the chat. I mean, if you guys did anything fun over the weekend, post it in the chat. Let me know what you guys have been up to. And we will take a look at these markets in the meantime. Good morning. We got Chuck in the house. We got Alex in the house. Bill, Brian, Eric. We got Eric Prawl. Good morning. Fayaz, Franco, Greg, Gilbert's here with us. We got Jay, Linder. Good morning to Joe, JT, Lucian, Mark, Martina, Ron, Win, Yovaris. What is happening? Everybody, YouTube land, the whole YouTube team hiding there in the background. Good morning to all you guys. It's an excitingly boring day so far in the markets. So far. We will see. But yeah, after hours, I mean, or futures at least, a little bit of I think we were a positive for a little bit. Then I saw that we flipped negative this morning, and now I think we're leaning back positive. So let's see. Slight down, I guess, from yesterday. Kind of inside day still. When I say yesterday, obviously I mean Friday. The good news for the bulls is we are still above very big support level. So anywhere, probably I would say in this box, let me see if I could draw it real quick. But yeah, anywhere in this little zone here, that is going to be our kind of support. So we need to stick above there. Big week in terms of earnings this week. We got a lot of the major players. I know Roku's reporting, Meta's reporting. I believe Google's reporting. Microsoft, I think, is reporting this week. We got some of the banks, FRC today after hours. We already had Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola did beat, so that would be one to look at as well for us today. But yeah, we're just kind of hanging out. Nothing too exciting in terms of like new weekly gap or anything like that so far in the SPY. So I still want to give a little bit more edge to the bulls. We've been for a much longer time still buy the dip. I think we're still a little bit in that buy the dip territory, but again, we're going to have a lot of news coming out, and we're going to determine if it's good or bad based off of probably those earnings and how we want to, especially like something like Microsoft. Did it run too much? Meta, did it run too much? They're going to need some really good earnings to just maintain pace as to what's coming out. And again, if it's not the case or they do show anything weaker, that's going to drive a little bit more fear into the market. So we will have to see. It's going to be a big event for those earnings where most of the market will be watching. But again, we got the Qs. Qs are same as the SPY, just kind of boring, flat for right now, which means we're going to have to try to find some individual names to trade. Something that looks different than the market will probably play out well today. But yeah, just again, I have to give a little bit more edge to the bulls. I see a little bit more support. You do have resistance right above you, but a little less resistance than you do support. So yeah, if I have to go with it, I mean, you do have the 10 EMA. Maybe that could give you a little resistance. You got a support right below it. I don't know. It's kind of chop zone. Bed Bath Beyond filed for bankruptcy. Finally, that should now be well back to its way to $100. Yeah. Man, I should have got a second mortgage over the weekend. Go all in on Bed Bath Beyond bankruptcy. All right. And for anybody that's just not familiar or just unaware, also though, bankruptcy does not technically mean a company goes out of business. It technically just means restructuring. Although in this case, it also might be going out of business. I don't know. They wasted all their money printing out 20% coupons. But yeah, Bed Bath Beyond, that's not a great gap. So it does look a little bit different, but I mean, 22 cents. And my guess would be that this goes into probably pink slips in terms of stocks. So that would change over. And if it does get into the pink slip zone, it's a nightmare to cash out, if anything. Still able to do it. Win said he's going to load the boat. I love it. Yeah, just load up on some Bed Bath Beyonds. For $5, you could just own the company, which is impressive. No, I was just talking. You can rearrange if you want it. Still, yeah. You can put a new chandelier in a haunted house. Still a haunted house. But all right, let's see if we got, what was it? I think I missed a couple. Beyond, we got Meta. Let's take a look at Meta. So keep in mind, earnings are coming out very, very soon on Meta. This is March 23rd. So, March 26th. So we got Wednesday for earnings on this one. Right now, if we drop on earnings, and I know this is not for today's play, but I'd be looking to hold something around the 207 zone. But perfect bounce. This is a little Fibonacci. Already had it drawn out, so that's already there. But good little bounce off of that 50% retracement. We do have things called pre-market run-ups where people start getting a little bit either excited or find stocks unappealing right before the earnings come out. Right now, it looks like we have a little bit of a run up again, that 210.04 zone. That's where we would have that 50% retracement. It is, we're still inside day, but it is a little bit of a retest gap. So see if this thing comes back first a little bit. You also did have some selling pressure on Thursday where the bulls got up there to 216-ish. Bears came in, they smacked it down. They were able to gap this thing down. And all of this is a retest gap. I would actually find this is a little bit more of a resistance than having. I like the location we bounced off of, but I'd have to really see how this plays out. This would be a good spot if I was one of those bulls buying this thing up in this Thursday action, and we could get back up there again. That's probably where I'd say, okay, you know what? Whether I'm break even or slightly down a little bit, I'd probably be looking just to get out, reassess, as opposed to just being down a whole heck of a lot more and stock not really doing what you thought it should have done. So we'll see if that resistance wants to hold, but I think that's a really, really nice spot to take some profits, especially if you're also a bull on this kind of 50% run up. So we'll have to see on that, but I'd watch it carefully. Not going to be the first one to play that one at open. I think it just I could see that thing chopping either way. And then you do have earnings coming in too. So some people going to just pump the brakes. All right, Apple. So Apple, okay. A little bit of a gap down. Still inside, barely, but still inside Friday's action. This is not quite island reversal because we did come up and we closed that gap. So that's kind of off the table. But Doji is indecision. If we could break Friday's lows, I think we have some good room ahead of us. We are at one little tiny level, 164.62, somewhere around that zone, 164.69, where we have some kind of support. So that's going to make it tough, but we do have support. If that breaks, there's not a lot in the way. First mini stop, I would say, is about 163.80. And then probably about 162.80 would be final targets if we could get down there. But earnings coming out on Thursday, that's May 4th. So not this week, next week. However, Apple probably will get affected by Microsoft, probably have some kind of potential impact from Google as well. Maybe Meta, but I don't know too much. Although Snapchat is this week. Snapchat we've seen just moves the entire market for no reason whatsoever. So I don't know if it does it this time because they actually switched it. This is the first time in a very, very long time Snapchat's actually reporting after Meta. So Meta gets the opportunity to go first and then Snapchat. Finally, they made it smart. All right, AMD, I think continuation to the bearish side. My targets for a very, very long time, though, has been $87.50 or 56 cents. It doesn't mean that's the final target. It hits it and it bounces perfectly off of it. I do see another kind of high wave indecision all the way down here, so a little bit longer term. And that's never been retested. That's would be a great spot to load up again. That's where the bulls took it off. And if we get back down there, I would assume there's some bulls hanging out somewhere around 82.65. So if that's the case, we do have some room to the downside there, but I do see pretty good support coming around this 87.50-ish zone. So that's where I'd probably want to remain. At least I would be taking some kind of profits on a day trade that's going to be too close to it. So I'd have to get some kind of balance. If you do want to play it, I think short is still the direction. Although, again, if we were to draw a fib, we're probably in kind of a little bit of a chop zone. This is going to be somewhere probably about the 50.618. So, yeah, this is right where the 618 is. The longer to trade here, the better it looks for the bulls. And the less likely I would think that this thing could come down to this 82.34. When is their earnings coming out? Is that May as well? Yep. So May 2nd, Tuesday. All right. So we got a little bit of time before earnings there. Not much, but a little bit. And this could be a chopzilla until that earnings come out. But it is a very good spot to find support. If this breaks, then the next spot becomes at 82. Too close for day trade, at least to the short side for me. All right, let me see. What was the other one? Roblox. The Roblo. Yep, it was a mighty fine bearish gap on the blocks. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Square real quick, but did not retest high enough for me to really establish a bigger position. Kind of just been chopping sideways, hanging out. We are still inside. We've made a few attempts to break that first little high wave. Bears did shut this thing right back down, got it right back into indecision. I don't have a real reason why this one will have any additional momentum. Again, what I'm looking for a little bit longer term on this picture, what I would love to see, I don't know if it happens or not, and it might not because we do have some moving averages up here, but I would like to see us get a little bit higher, and then that would be the spot to kind of roll down. So that's my zone where I really want to probably take out, I don't know how the option contracts are going to be, but probably take out some puts or go short, something like that in a longer term basis, which means I'm going to have some kind of a bullish bias on this, admittedly so, but bullish bias up until that, or if we start breaking that indecision. So I'm going to be bullish anywhere in the zone up here until we start breaking and holding past that high wave. And my thought process is that we just kind of get up there, retest, and then start to roll. So, but right now, again, there's really nothing that would excite me in terms of a day trade. All right, I got AI and MU. AI. Retest gap. Pretty decent size gap. Some of the other tech names like NVIDIA I saw was getting hit too. I think Palantir was down a little. So maybe AI is getting hit a little bit. Let me see if we can find some kind of targets on this one. It's a little tough. Even if we were to draw some kind of fib on this thing, I would say we start there and then maybe we end there. This would take us to probably the 618. We are slightly below the 618. So I'd have to let this thing retest or play it long. And I don't know if this is the right spot to play it long. I got no real support. So technically, if I want to play this long, I do want this thing to drop out of the gate. 1768. I would say, okay, we have a good shot to get some kind of reversal. Stop would be in at 1615. And then I would look to roll this thing higher into probably $20.02. If I don't want to do that, and I'm only playing this one, I'd only be playing this one bearish because we're below that 618. So I think at least short term, we probably do something like that. We use that as some kind of resistance. So somewhere around this 1948 would be a spot I would look, or somewhere around this looks like roughly about $20.06. So the close of yesterday. So somewhere in this zone would be my expected retest. The fact that we are breaking down that entire structure, major support. We really broke it down on Friday. So having some kind of retest and then kind of a collapse would make some sense. But closest to possible $20.06 would be the way I would be looking for a short on that one. All right, AMU. MU. So MU is interesting in terms of the gap. Question is, did we break that channel? So again, so from Friday, MU would be technically a retest gap. Technically speaking, but kind of more of an indecision, more of a high wave. And even that indecision high wave is still inside candle of this big green candle is the one I'll be playing off of. That would be my setup. It's going to be interesting at open because again, this trend line that we're opening above, or I think we are going to open slightly above. So I think we're going to be right about here. If that's the case, is that going to be enough? Right now, we are breaking down a lot of this kind of VPOG zone. I don't really see anything else probably until here, which is about $59. So sink to 59, then maybe we get the bounce. But again, that's the green candles when I'm playing. That's the gap and go. That's going to set me with some bearish momentum, and we do have that being broken down. Targets would be of concern, but maybe we get to 58.63, and if I think eventually we do have probably 56, 58 in the cards. I don't think that's going to happen today. We'd have to get through a lot. Targets are concerned, but that looks like a decent gap and go. And it's actually a retest gap too. This big green candle is a retest gap, if anything. Momentum's coming down. Let's see if this thing could retest a little bit higher. That's probably how I have to play this thing. Hopefully this little bit of diagonal support could build this thing up a little bit, and we could look for a better short around 60.88. That would at least be worth the try to me, where I get slightly better risk to reward, but it would have to give me some kind of signal, some kind of sign. I can't just throw an order up there on this one. Just what I'd be afraid of is, all right, we come back down here, we hit that diagonal support, we start bouncing higher, and I don't see why that can't happen, especially if we start getting good earnings coming out from some sympathy companies. But these earnings already came out, so that's at least one thing off the table for them. So I don't know. It does look a little bit weaker, but again, that would, if that's the retest gap, which it was, and did look kind of bullish, so we're trapping some people, mixed signals on this. We are, and I love the fact we're breaking down all of those VPOCs over there. Just the targets to me might be a little tougher, but short as high as you could on that one. I think I still like it as a short. It's a good double top on a daily structure, but I don't know. Time to buy a leap on it for pennies on Bed Bath Beyond. Didn't you guys do that with Hertz? I think you guys did that with Hertz too. I don't know how it worked out, if you guys made money or not. Or maybe you're still holding it. All right, we got Roku. Inside day from Friday. It is technically a gap and go just inside, so could get a little bit of a battle at open. Wait for a double top or something like that if you're going to try to short it. You do also have, this is a gap and go, but you also have 1, 2, 3 days of people shorting, getting back into, at least for a longer term position, getting back to like a 61.71 to short. Much better location. So I'd probably have to stick with the bullish over bearish here. But I don't know if it's going to be the easiest trade in the world, just because you're going to have to just pound your head into some of those kind of spots where people are getting hosed, and panicky and trying to get out for break even, but I can see in a little bit of a longer term picture, at least something like this. And again, it's a good spot to hold. You do have that decent looking wick on that candle. I don't like the fact that we broke the structure whatsoever, but again, I can see us kind of rolling back in, hitting some moving averages, hitting this longer term kind of VPOC area. So somewhere up here for a longer term, that would be where I would try my short. You do have that gap and go. And if I think we could probably get back up there, I'd have to just give myself a little bullish bias that this thing could get bought up on that gap and go today. All everyone is talking about is the earnings for the second strongest stock. Yep, DraftKings coming out May 5th. Also, Cinco de Mayo. No, I have not mentioned one. I've not heard anybody mention Cinco de Mayo even. So DraftKings earnings is trending on Twitter higher than Cinco de Mayo. It's crazy. I mean, AI had a downgrade. Yep, so we were just looking at that one. Pretty decent gap down, but there's still a lot of selling into it. If you're going to try it long, try it as close to about 1703 as possible. And if you're trying to short, it's got to go a little bit higher for that one. Oh, Johnny did on Hertz. Johnny did well. Still, he just threw his leaps into the long term. Still holding that one. All right, cool. Coca-Cola for we got Heather is in YouTube land. Good morning, Heather. We got Richard Jet. Good morning, Jay King, Joe, Ira, the squadron. All right, we got GM, I think, is for just go good morning. So we'll just hop on over to Coca-Cola. But if Richard, who was that? Jay King, if you were actually saying, hey, could you look at GM? Let me know. But I think that was just good morning. Coca-Cola, yeah. So up on earnings, really nice spot. 65 has been a very, very strong resistance for this thing. Coca-Cola's, I wouldn't believe should move that much, but a pretty healthy beat in general. So a little bit of a surprise. Earnings per share up 5.22%, toward the surprise end of it. And then revenue, they just print money. So you have, in terms of, I mean, everyone's like, yeah, we're going to go to the yen. I think Coca-Cola has a stronger shot of printing new money for the economy than us adapting to the yen, in all fairness. But what do we have? Retest gap. This was all bought up into it. 65 is a very, very strong resistance. That is a nice gap to the high of the pivots. I don't know that we're quite gapping over it. It's definitely some of those closes we are. But I would actually probably be looking for a fade, some profit taking at open, something quick in and out. I wouldn't hold it too long. Coca-Cola's a beast. Coke coin? Yeah. Maybe they should put Coca-Cola coin. Otherwise, you might get a different clientele. PHG. I don't know what the volume is on this stock. I'm not familiar with it at all. Pretty decent location. Watch out for somewhere around 22.13. If that could break, you should be good on this one up until about 24.45. That would be your trade. So could hit a little resistance. What kind of gap is this? This is a retest gap into probably a little bit of a profit taking area. So most likely fades. I don't see this thing fully retesting. Call it what you want, but probably targets would be to about 20.70 on the day trade. So you can get about $1 off this thing, just kind of fading that move. Maybe you could try to wait, see if it can get a little bit higher, 22.13, something like that. Would be a much better spot to fade this thing down. But yeah, I'm not looking for this thing to fade all the way to that. It could. Anything could happen. Otherwise, yeah, $20.70. I'd be out taking my profit, see what happens. So not a lot of great stocks that gets me really excited yet. Hold on, we got one more from Myra. I forgot about that one. This could be the golden goose. This could be the golden ticket. We're about to go to the chocolate factory. Super. I'm just gonna call it Super Mario Computer. This is a Mario. That's a nice gap down. It is actually probably one of the nicer gaps I've seen so far. Ira was saving the best for last. It's a nice gap and go, clearing decent pivots, one little spot of support. Now that's broken as we talk about it. Again, volume might be a little low on this one. I'm not quite sure of the volume, but you're definitely trapping some bulls. All right, let's add this one as number one. We'll see what we can do. If it's too spready, I'll probably stay away from it. But I'll add it. We're gonna take a look for this one. We do have a little bit of support in terms of targets, where it might be a little bit more to the difficult side. It's already a $10 gap. So those I don't like when it's like so massive. But also that massive gap is causing a lot of pain for some bulls. House of pain, as Jim Cramer would say. Target on it could be about $93. So we do, for a day trade basis, we could get a little bit out of this thing. That's probably my favorite gap of the day so far. So we'll see what happens on that one. What I got, 3 minutes still. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any other comment in YouTube. Nope, all good there. Perfect. All right. Alibaba getting down to a little bit of support. Been selling into it. This is probably wave 3 on the way down. So we could start to see a little bit of maybe of a bounce on BABA, but we'll have to see. It's probably nothing too crazy. Google, which does report. Wait, does BABA report? Oh, May 18th. So they got some time until they report. We got Google. Yeah, up to the kind of flat side of things. Slight little gap, nothing too crazy. Potential double bottom on Square. So again, I know you guys like Square. I'm not opposed to it at the right valuation. I think we still have that Hindenburg report just floating over our heads, but earnings is coming out May 4th. So next week. Still living inside this dreamland of this high wave. We'll have to see what earnings is. Probably a decent play on this one would be to be picking up some shares or some options. I'd probably do it for options and just get that pre earnings run up. This would be a decent location where everyone's like, hey, high wave, indecision. Clear stops is going to be about 56.38. So you have that in place, and then you could probably play this one bullish where you get some implied volatility in a worst case into the options and then sell it prior to the options report coming out, the earnings report coming out. Microsoft falling out of bed, Mr. Softy. That might be a really good gap too. Yeah, I kind of like that one too. That's probably going to take spot 1 as favorite gap of the day. So that would be a gap and go, clearing some decent levels. Next target on this thing is about 279.77. So we can make some coinage into it. And then real target on this thing would be about 278. But when's earnings? Tuesday. So tomorrow, my guess would be after the bell. So it could act a little bit wild, but I like this thing for a short. All right, how much time do we got left? We only got 12 seconds. Everybody in YouTube land, I do appreciate you guys joining us each and every day. If you have not gone to reallifetrading.com, make sure you guys do so. We do have free education, free online. And again, you can hang out, trade with us. We do got classes going on all day long. All access pass, so make sure you guys check that out. But be safe out there. Microsoft's already dropping. I like it to the short side. See if we get any type of a bounce that will give me my opportunity to get in. But you guys are incredible, and I will